Well, hello there. So you found my channel. My name is Steven, and at the time of recording this video, I'm not really sure what I'm going to call this channel. I'm thinking about calling it Steven Loses It. So you're here. You're probably wondering why you're here. You're wondering, what am I here for? Why am I talking to you via YouTube, social media, however you're finding this? And this first video is just going to kind of be a little bit of an introduction. It's going to be just kind of me talking about why I'm here and what this channel is going to be about. This channel is not really going to be formatted in any kind of a specific way. It's really kind of just going to be my self-journaling, my thoughts as I go through the process of battling life-threatening morbid obesity. So, again, my name is Steven, and I'm 50 years old. I turned 50 March 1st, and I don't know when you'll be seeing this in perpetuity, but I was born March 1st, 1973, and this is, 2023, and I'm sorry, I'm kind of getting stuck in a loop in my own head. I'm kind of nervous, kind of ashamed, kind of embarrassed. But I'm in big trouble. And I've been in big trouble for a long time, and I've ignored it for a long time, or haven't taken it serious enough. But I'm morbidly obese, and back in April of 2021, I went with a friend of mine to Florida, and I was having a little bit of trouble on the way to the airport. Had a little bit of trouble walking through the airport. As soon as we got landed in Florida and we deplaned, we were leaving the plane, and I started just really feeling bad. I had no energy. I was having some chest pain that was kind of abnormal. I had to sit down, take a little break, rest, and we kept going. And I kept having these off and on bouts of some weird chest pains and just some weird feeling. My head didn't feel right. I would get hot, I would get cold, I would get, lethargic, very tired. I was uncomfortable. I had a lot of things going on, a lot of symptoms. We were out there for WrestleMania, and no, I'm not really a big wrestling fan, but my friend is, and so I, made it a point to go with him. We started a tradition, and I would go to WrestleMania with him every year. And we did some other wrestling things together. But he wanted to go see the wrestling, and I just wanted to, take a trip and hang out with my buddy, and so that's what we did. But nevertheless, so we're in Florida. We're getting off the plane. I'm having all of these feelings. We're going to the rent-a-car place. We get the rent-a-car. We go to the hotel. I get to the hotel, and I'm miserable. I'm miserable all night. I can't get comfortable. I can't sleep. I'm just not in a good way. And after a while, that kind of subsides. I never really feel well, but I don't feel as bad. But then I would get another wave of this really bad feeling. And this went on all weekend. The last night we were there, it was so bad. I laid in my hotel room, and I was scared. I knew something was wrong. But I had a lot of things going through my head. My mother lives with me, and we lost my dad. back in December of 2020. I'm sure I'll talk about him on this channel, and my mother as well. But we lost my dad in December of 2020, and we lost him, his battle with cancer. I had just bought a house. I moved my mom and dad in with me, and literally the weekend that we moved in, the hospital called us. My dad was in the hospital while my mom and I were moving, and they called and said, hey, you better get to the hospital. Anyway, I'm going into a lot of this just to kind of give you a little bit of background on me, just tell you a little bit about me and my situation, and you know, anyway, this is a lot of stuff that's relevant to my life, maybe not necessarily relevant to this video, but I just wanted, this is an introduction, so I'm just trying to give you a little bit of background. Nevertheless, I was concerned. I knew something was wrong, but I'm in Florida, and my mom, she's older, she's elderly, she's not in the best shape, she's not in her best shape. She's not in the best shape herself. And I'm thinking that I might need to go to the hospital in Florida, but then I'm worried because if I do go to the hospital and it is something serious, I'm miles away from home, and my mother would completely freak out. She would not be good. And I didn't want to do that to her. So I sucked it up and I came home. And I got home and I still did not feel very well, but this feeling kind of kept coming in waves. And so I just went to bed. I thought, if it's still bothering me in the morning, I'll go to the hospital. Sure enough, the next morning, it started to get really bad. It got a lot worse. I knew that something was not right. I knew that I needed to get to the hospital. And so I went to the hospital and I told them what was going on, and they went through a lot of different stuff, and they didn't really, we kind of come up with a couple of theories, and they kind of ruled that out, and they thought they would send me home. But as they were talking about sending me home, they came back and said that they found something in my blood work. So they started, they had done an EKG. Well, the fact is I'd had a heart attack, and I was in the middle of a massive heart attack. And that was so scary, Luckily, the hospital is literally 10 minutes from my house. So I was able to call my mom and let her know that I was, in fact, having a heart attack. And she came to the hospital. They went in and determined that I had a lot of blockage. I don't remember the numbers right now, but I was severely blocked. And I needed to have open heart surgery. The hospital in my hometown, they don't do open heart there. So they had me transferred to Dallas, Baylor in Dallas. And I got out there. They did their own testing on me for a couple of days. And for a lot of reasons, I have my opinions about this, and maybe we'll talk about it on this channel. Maybe we won't. I don't know. But they determined not to do the open heart. They were concerned that I wasn't healthy enough to make it through the open heart surgery. That's what they told me. I don't know if I believe that or disbelieve that. There were a few things that was kind of fishy about what went on there, but nevertheless, they did give me great care, and they determined that they would do stents. And so they put stents in me and sent me home, and then I started the road to recovery on that. At the same time I was in the hospital with my heart attack, they diagnosed me as type 2 diabetic. Now, if I'm honest with you, I either probably knew in the back of my mind, or I should have known that I was diabetic. There were definitely plenty of signs. And although it had been a long time since I'd had my blood sugar checked or, been checked by a doctor or anything, I had been diagnosed as pre-diabetic twice in the past. So I knew it was a real possibility. But they diagnosed me with type 2 diabetes. So now I had just gone through the heart attack. I went through the stent surgery where they did multiple stents. I found out about the type 2 diabetes, and so my whole world was changing. My whole world changed. And I've battled my weight since I was, my late teens is when I started putting on the weight. Maybe mid-teens I started to put it on. But it wasn't bad. I didn't start getting into obesity shape until maybe my mid-20s. And I've battled that. I've gone through many different stints of trying to lose weight, and I would lose really good, and then I would stall, or I would get complacent, or I would just decide that I wanted what I wanted and I didn't care. Consequences, be darned. And so I would give up. Or, I don't know. I just, I struggled. And maybe I didn't really struggle hard enough. Maybe, and that's probably the reality. It's probably the reality. But, my highest weight has been 358 pounds. At the time that I had my heart attack, I was probably close to 340, 342, somewhere in there. I've yo-yoed 20, 30, 40 pounds up and down, back and forth, sometimes as much as a 60-pound loss and then, a 70-pound gain. There's not a program that I haven't tried. I did Slim Fast. I did Weight Watchers. I did Optivia. I did Jenny Craig. I did the Atkins diet. I did different versions of keto. I did the flight attendant diet. I mean, I've done it all. There's really nothing I haven't tried. And I just have lacked the follow through for whatever the reason. I've recently started to have serious conversations with myself where I believe that it's an addiction, that food is an addiction. I don't really, I've got a lot of running jokes. Obese people are the king of self-deprivation comedy, It's a defense mechanism. It's a protection mechanism. I'm going to laugh at myself before you do, and that will make it okay. I can't feel bad. All that jazz. That's I've never felt like I'm your typical emotional eater in terms of I never felt like I felt depressed, so I would eat a gallon of ice cream and then reach for the second gallon of ice cream. I didn't binge eat like that. That's not my process. That's not my problem. I do overeat. Absolutely, I overeat. I eat bad combinations of things, and I've one of the jokes, one of the long running jokes I've said is, I don't eat because I'm an emotional eater. I eat because chocolate tastes better than the air in my mouth, and it does. I mean, I like me some chocolate. And I believe that's true. I crave flavor. I crave all kinds. I just, my option is I can have nothing in my mouth and have no enjoyment from flavor, or I can eat something sweet, or I can go through a drive-through and instead of getting burger and fries, I can get 2 burgers and I can justify that second burger because I didn't get the fries. And then I can get a large Dr. Pepper to go with that. And depending on the drive-through, maybe an apple pie. I don't know. But a lifetime of very poor decisions, habits, and everything that I've ever tried to do to lose weight, honestly, worked. It worked. It didn't matter the diet. It didn't matter the change in eating. It all worked until I quit working it. So it's always, I'm the common denominator. I'm the problem. And I'm at a point in my life where I'm older. I turned 50. My body does not respond the way it used to. I used to could drop 20 pounds very quick. I can't do that anymore. My body, particularly after my heart attack, has changed a lot. How it feels, how it functions, what it used to could do, what it can't do anymore. I probably have the health of about a 70 or 80-year-old in a 50-year-old body. My mind, I still feel like I'm 25 in my mind. But my body, that's a different story. Anyway, so I got myself in this situation. They told me I had to manage my diabetes. I had to eat differently. And then they put me on some drugs. And I take so many drugs. It depresses me how many drugs that I take. And almost all of them have a weight gain component to them. So even when I'm trying to lose weight, the drugs are trying to add weight. And so there's this push and pull that's happening in my body. And it's so frustrating because when I try to lose 20 pounds, and I've done it all my life very quickly and very easily, and now I can't. It makes you start feeling very defeated. And that feeling is it's a lonely place to be. Because even the people who care about you the most, and they love you, if they haven't experienced it, they can't understand it. And you can't explain it to them. And there's a difference. I've got friends that they need to lose, 20 or 30 pounds, and they struggle with that. And there is something different about needing to lose 20 or 30 pounds versus needing to lose 100, 150, 200 pounds. It's a different beast. It's a different animal. And it's depressing. As I say all of that, what I don't want to imply, what I don't want to have you think, is that I somehow feel like I'm a victim. Well, if I am a victim, I'm my own victim. No one did this to me but myself. And I've got a lot of thoughts behind a lot of the psychology of it. But at the end of the day, it's just me. It's me. It's me and the food. It's a battle. Who's going to win today? Am I going to win? Or is it, something dead on a plate going to win? And I can't tell you how depressing it is and how much it weighs on my heart and my mind and my spirit that I did this to myself and that I let food win. I hate that. Do I hate it enough? That's the question I struggle with. That's the variable. You see, two things can be true at the same time. It can be true that I want to be healthy. I want to lose weight. I want to be, thinner. I want to be able to live for my mom, for my brothers and my sisters and my friends and my family and my nephews and my nieces. I want to live. That's all true. But you know what else is true? I want the double quarter pounder with cheese with extra ketchup and a large Dr. Pepper. That's true too. And when I'm not faced with the food, it's a good game to talk that I want all of these healthy things. But when I'm driving past that drive-through and that big neon sign's calling me and and all of my taste buds and my mouth are getting excited because it wants this garbage that I put into my body. That's a strong pull. It's a very strong pull. Not everybody gets pulled that way. Not everybody has the battle. I'm not saying that there are people that just don't love food. I think everybody loves food. But some people can make the statement, I love me more than I love food. I should be able to make that statement. But I don't know that I can. Most people can say, I want to be healthy more than I want cake, ice cream, Butterfinger bars. You name the poison. And that's what it is. For me, anyway, it's poison. It's killing me. Some of the conversations that I've been having with friends and family is some of the conversations that I've been having are that I don't know. Sorry. Bear with me. You hear people with cancer, and some people, they get a cancer diagnosis and they say, you know what? I'm not going to take chemo. I'm not going to do radiation. I'm not going to do anything. I'm just going to live my life, quality of life. I just want to live my life, And they don't want to go through the battle. And what I believe my food addiction to be is I don't want to say that they're similar in nature because they're not, but they're similar in thought process. They're similar in terms of some days I just want to say, you know what? I'm really happy. I'm a foodie kind of guy. I mean, I'm one of those guys that I could plan an entire vacation around, going to every city that has an episode on diners, drive-ins, and dives, and I could make an entire vacation over just going to these greasy spoon hole in the walls. And I would love every minute of it. That would be so much more pleasurable for me than going and seeing, Picasso, Stonehenge, really amazing places and landmarks and sceneries. And to me, I love those things and I enjoy it and I want to see those things. But the bottom line is, I went and saw the Golden Gate Bridge for the first time and I stood there for 5 minutes, got my selfie with it, and I said, yeah, there it is, Golden Gate Bridge. Got my selfie, 5 minutes. Now let's go grab dinner. All the sights, all the beautiful wonders of the world, they're amazing. And I can look at them in 5 minutes and now get me to the restaurant, find me the good food. And I say that and I laugh at that, but it's not funny. It shouldn't be funny. That's a problem. It's a self-control problem. It's a willpower problem. It's a mental problem. I'm not really big on saying that, this is some type of thing that you need to do past life regression therapy or try to figure out, what happened to you as a child to make you eat like this. You know, what happened to me as a child is I discovered Hershey's chocolate. I discovered Little Debbie's. I discovered pizza rolls and Hot Pockets and, crap. And I liked it. But with that being said, I can't ignore that when you know that you're heading down a path that is going to kill you, and you know it, there's no doubt you're going to keep doing this and you're going to die because of it, and you continue to do it, you cannot look at that objectively and say there's not some level of mental illness associated with that. And so that's a reality that I've kind of faced with myself recently. Anyway, all of this, and I'm kind of bouncing around, and we're a little over 30 minutes, so I'm going to try to wrap this up. Jeez, this is so long. But here are the important things that you need to know going forward from this point. I started struggling really bad a few months ago and didn't know what was going on, but I was just miserable. I couldn't breathe. I couldn't walk from my bedroom to the living room. I had so many symptoms, so many things going on. And I went to go see my cardiologist, and my cardiologist told me, he walks in the room, and he says, Steven, the reason that you're struggling so bad, it's your weight. And he said, in my opinion, you are in serious danger of dying. You could walk out of my office and die before you get to your car. That's what he said to me. He told me that he believed that I needed immediate intervention surgery or I was not going to live. He said if he was a bariatric surgeon, he would put me in the ER today. He scared the living daylights out of me. And I can tell you that I 100% believed him. The way that I was feeling, the way that I was breathing or not breathing, I had so many symptoms, so many issues, and I was miserable. And I believed him. So I immediately started looking into getting the gastric sleeve. He referred me to a surgeon. He wrote a letter to my insurance company saying that it was a life-saving, necessary surgery. My PCP agreed with him, and we started the process of trying to get me the surgery. And after several go-rounds with my insurance company, we found out that the insurance company would not pay for it at all, not a penny. And I have no way to pay for it. I pay my bills, but I don't make a lot of money. And so I didn't have, I checked, and it's around 13 to 25,000, where I'm at. And so I started exploring Tijuana, Mexico weight loss surgery. And I was looking into that, found a couple of surgeons that I personally was very comfortable with, but everyone in my life completely freaked out by that. Nobody wanted me to go to Mexico for surgery. I got different opinions on that. I got a lot of thoughts, and there are some concerns, but it wasn't something I was as worried about as they were. So that was the plan. That's what I was going to do. But since everybody in my life balked at it, nobody wanted me to do it, everybody was scared. And then my mother, who would have had to have been here while I went to Mexico, and then the prospect of, if something happened, it probably wouldn't, but if it did, I'm in another country, my elderly mother is here. It was just too much, Started talking to a friend of mine. We started kind of putting our heads together and kind of deciding we were going to do something together and work on trying to just get some of the weight off. By the way, side note, my PCP put me on Ozempic. And I'll share more with you about the Ozempic in another video. But just know that I am on Ozempic currently. According to my PCP, I have not realized any benefit in the weight loss department from the Ozempic because I'm not taking a high enough dose yet. Right now, the only benefit that I'm getting from the Ozempic is diabetic control. And that is helping me immensely. And so I'm glad for that. But I've started down this path of a way of eating and kind of eating some certain ways and macronutrients and trying to lose weight on my own. And the surgery's not off the table, but it's on the back burner. It now is Plan B. And so that's kind of where I'm at. And I wanted to start this channel when I first started exploring all of this. But for several reasons that didn't happen. I'm a world-class procrastinator, and to be honest, there was a lot of trepidation and fear and shame and that went into putting all of this personal information out in the public sphere. And so I procrastinated. But I know that I need the accountability. I know that I need to be involved in the process of keeping my mind on this. And so having a channel where I talk to you will help me do that. And maybe somebody else is out there and they can relate to what I'm going through. And maybe I say something that encourages them or helps them. And so all of that is good stuff. And so that's what I want to try to do. But I want you to know a couple of numbers before I wrap this up. The day that my cardiologist told me, if you do not have this surgery ASAP, you're going to die. That was February 21st, 2023. And I was in his office that day and I weighed 338 pounds, 338.3 pounds. That was my official weigh-in the day that my cardiologist told me, get the surgery or die. Since then, today is April 26th. So 2 months, a little over 2 months, I have lost 28.6 pounds. And that is not all water weight. You would think that, but I actually have, we're doing the fat percentage makeup composition, whatever you want to say about that. But we're doing that, and I've actually lost about 2% body fat. Close to that, if not that. I don't have that number in front of me, so I'll need to look at that. But and that's me eating just a specific regimen, trying to hit a certain amount of protein a day, trying to hit a certain amount of carbs. And I know a lot of people are going to say, "Oh, carbs are bad." I'm diabetic, and so I have to maintain a certain amount of carbs to keep my blood sugar We've had a lot of struggles with crazy blood sugar numbers, and I've kind of really leveled those out since I've started eating like this. They've been the best numbers I've had since I was diagnosed. I'm very, very pleased with my blood sugar numbers. So anyway, all of that to say, this is going to be my journey. This is going to be where I talk about it. A lot of it's just going to be my feelings. I'll just be checking in and telling you the thoughts that I'm having. And just kind of telling you where I'm at. And, I hope that you'll click like and subscribe and follow and all that good stuff, and leave me comments. If you're going to trash and bash me, that's not going to work out too well, because I will not even read or respond to those comments. Haters do not faze me. I'm not inviting hate. I'm just letting you know, if you want to get a rise out of me, that's not going to do it. But anybody that wants to, support me, encourage me, tell me your story, please do. Please do. And I will share more with you soon. But that's, we're going to be almost 45 minutes here. That's entirely too long. I may cut a little bit of it out. So anyway, if you have any questions for me, please, drop them in the comments. I'll do my best to answer them, do my best to respond to people. I don't know if I'll have 2 people viewing this channel or 2,000 people viewing this channel. I don't know. If nothing else, this is going to be a video diary of sorts for me to look back on, hopefully in a year from now, whenever I've lost, I figured out if I can maintain a 2 pound per week loss on average, not expecting to lose that every week. I expect plateaus. But if I can average 2 pounds a week for 52 weeks, I'll lose 104 pounds by February 21st. And wouldn't that be amazing? So anyway, welcome to my channel, and buckle up. It's going to be an interesting ride. Peace. Be blessed.